Hey, it's one of the benefits of being the star.
That should be Cameron then.
Yeah. This week on the Weekend Homestead, we're going to finish our maple syrup project. First we tapped the trees, then we boiled it down. This week we're cleaning up here in the property, collecting the buckets and pulling the lines, and then we'll head back to the cabin kitchen and we'll finish off the syrup and bottle it up. Come along for the adventure. Alrighty, we are back out on the property here. We're going to collect up our buckets. Very simple, just pull the hose out of the bucket. We'll take the buckets home and we'll wash them out with a little bit of bleach solution. These spiles, if you give them a little bit of a turn here, they should come right out. There we go. The last thing we do is I make these little plugs here. They're very, very simple, just made out of wood, a little wooden dowel. I make them about the same size as the hole here. Just get them started in there, and then just grab your hammer and give them a tap in. So what that's done now is it's plugged the hole on the tree. What we want to do is have it plugged like that so we don't get any insects or disease or anything like that into the tree. This will scab over, and then next year we'll just find another spot and tap next to it and use this tree again. If you take care of your trees, they'll stay around for a long, long time. Filling the hole is one of the most important parts. So we have a stock pot on the stove here. It has our sap from last weekend. If you click in the link above, it'll take you to last week's video where we boiled down the sap and getting it ready to pre-syrup. Now we have it in this smaller pot. We have it on a boil here. What we're going to do is take a majority of the water out of here, and eventually it will turn to maple syrup. Right now, the temperature in here is right about 212, which is where water boils. As this gets closer and closer and the sugar content rises, the temperature will rise. Yesterday, I set up the stock pot with some water in it just to see what it would boil at, and 212 was the number. As you can see, we're gonna get pretty close here on the temperature gauge. Once we hit 219, we'll take this off, and basically a reaction happens inside of the sap, and that's what turns into syrup. The sugar content hits a certain point. The thing you wanna do is you wanna watch this very, very closely as we get closer and closer, because as you get to 219, once you hit that temperature, you have to take it off. Otherwise, what will happen is the reaction in the sap and will turn into syrup will continue to go on, and it'll actually wreck the batch. Eventually, we'll strain this out, put it into some bottles, and we'll have some great maple syrup for some good morning breakfasts. We need a couple really simple things: some cheesecloth, a bowl, a ladle. We have a digital thermometer. I'll have a link below on where we got this from. We got it just on Amazon. And then some really simple containers to put them in. We're going to put them in these glass jars this year. All right, so what we do is as this goes along, just give it a couple stirs. I use a strainer to strain out any of the stuff on the top. You'll get little bubbles and things like that. And I just put a little tray off to the side and kind of keep collecting it off. This will keep boiling down further and further and further. We check the temperature every couple minutes or so and see where we're at. We're getting a lot closer here. We just checked the temperature. It was 215. One thing I want to show you, if you want to come in here and take a quick look, the bubbles are starting to get smaller and smaller and smaller as this boils. So what's happening is the water level continues to lower in this. The temperature continues to rise. So as you can see, we started out probably just about underneath this bolt here, and we brought it down this far. It's only been about 45 minutes or so that it's been boiling, but you can see the bubbles are getting tighter and tighter and tighter. As you can see, we're getting really close. We're at about 216 here. Just turning to 217. So one of the things, as your temperature gets closer, you want to get your stuff ready. What I did was I took just a glass Pyrex bowl, something I just take high temperature, and put my cheesecloth over the top of it. Once this hits the right temperature, we're going to ladle it off and put it into this bowl, and it'll strain through here, and this will get the rest of the impurities out of it, and then we'll have our pure maple syrup in the bottom here. And then once it cools down a little further, we'll just bottle it up in some sterile glass bottles, and it'll be ready for the season. As you can see, the bubbles are very, very tight and very, very small. As the water evaporates from this, all you have left is really the sugar itself and the syrup. And sugar boils at a much, much higher temperature than water does, 212 for water. And maple syrup boils out at 219. As this hits 219, 220, what I'm gonna do is actually turn it off here once it hits 219. Just give it a little bit here. There we are. We are at maple syrup. Right there. Turn it off. And we're going to let it cool down here. But that, folks, right there on the bottom is maple syrup. You can tell by the spoon, as you can see, it kind of just sheets off the side of the spoon here. I don't know if you can see that on the video, but so this will cool down, then we'll strain it out, bottle it up, and this is the first batch of 2016. One thing you'll definitely notice is this thickened up. So this cheesecloth here is basically just catching any extra impurities or anything like that that comes out of the syrup once we boiled it off, and the bowl below is catching it all. You definitely want to be careful with this part because this is very hot, so just take your time.
What'd you call it, like amber gold?
Yeah. There's all different grades of syrup too. You'll have some where it comes out as a light yellow color, and there'll actually be some that are really dark. Like this came out of straight maple trees. You can actually boil this out of sugar maples. If you have birch trees on your property, you can do birch trees also. There's a lot of, like up in Alaska, I know it's a pretty big deal to have birch sap. You can do this in even the trees in your yard if you live in the city. This is where you turn off the camera and I lick the inside of the pot.
Lick the inside of the pot with the camera on.
Okay. So all we're gonna do now that this is cooled down, we bought some really simple bottles here. Just filling them up. Very simple project. Almost anybody can do it. The one thing you'll notice about this versus store-bought syrup is store-bought syrup, you know, you end up using a ton of it, it's super thick, it doesn't taste very good. This stuff you actually don't need to use very much because it's so sweet. And here we are. The cap on. Afterwards we'll wash all these up and we'll put the sealer on the top of them and they'll be good. They can stay on your shelf for probably about 2-3 years or a couple weekends and everybody will have it, so it doesn't take very long to use it up. Well, this concludes our maple syrup project for this year. We boiled down 100 gallons of sap to make 13 half pints, 7 pints, and 24 bags of candy. If you want to see some of our other maple syrup videos where we're using the evaporator or when we were tapping the trees, make sure you click on the link in the upper corner and it'll take you to the other videos. If you like what we're doing here, make sure you subscribe to our videos. We put out videos every week. This has been the Weekend Homestead, living the simple life one weekend at a time. Thanks for watching.